If everything is consciousness, if everything is God, if everything is all there is, and everything we experience is an expression of all there is, and we understand that every manifestation and every thing we see is part of the consciousness of the expanded all that is. So all darkness is of God, all light is of God. We often only see and think we see God or the consciousness within goodness, what we call goodness, but everything is an expression. And darkness or contrast is part of what we have created in the consciousness, the human condition. If we look at everything as energy, there is everything is a symbol of this energy. So everything is a symbolic representation of the energetic aspect of what we see. And we feel that sometimes more than others. We know we feel certain energetic things more than others. So even as we know, a tree has a different energetic frequency than a rock. And people also have amazing experiences with a rock. But on a more subtle level, we feel it within humans, within people that we experience and that we're around. We feel it with emotions. When somebody expresses a certain emotion, a certain thought pattern, a certain state of mind, we can feel it. And we label those feelings, those energies. So if somebody is happy, we label the expression of energy as happy. If someone is angry, or if we're angry, we label that expression of energy as anger. So if we look out into the world and we see what is playing out, and we may be at a particular frequency ourselves, where we sit at a particular point of frequency in relation to what's playing out. So we might have a particular resonance with certain aspects of it and an aversion with other aspects of it. So if we can experience all of it as part of the larger whole, part of the energetic expression of all that is, we can then also choose what we resonate with and how, and also how we receive those things, those experiences, those energetic frequencies that we may not resonate with. So I was talking to somebody today about the jab, talking about the idea that if we're feeling coerced and if we're feeling resistance to it, to this particular thing, then we may feel like we've labeled it. We may give it an expression, and we may label that expression. We may label the thing with a particular energetic frequency. The frequency that we may label the thing with is, we may be resistant to it, so we may reject it. We may have aversion to it. And so we may label it as part of darkness, part of negative energy. So in that circumstance, then we are creating an energetic frequency that is not in alignment with who we are, or where we think we are, or feel we are, or resonating with. Somebody who sees the thing, the jab, as a savior, somebody who sees it as a real positive, sees it as health and well-being, has a different frequency, has a different labeling of that energetic blueprint of this thing. So if you are choosing to bring this into you and you feel that as you bring it into you, it is creating health, it creates vitality, it creates well-being, then you are more likely to have a positive experience with it, as well as your body, and the way that your body assimilates is going to be more likely to have a positive experience with it. If you reject it, if you see it as darkness, as you see it as something negative, you are more likely to have a negative experience, and your energy is not going to align with it. You're going to have a sort of friction, a duality going on within you. So another way to experience this is to also, from an energetic point of view, and if you are on a path of light and a path of expansion and a path of holistic view, and feeling that there is an awakening going on, an energetic shift going on, then we also have to see this as part of that, to see that this is part of the greater, bigger picture as far as the ascension and everything else. And so as a high vibration being, there's also the possibility of acknowledging the energetic frequency of what is playing out. And maybe the thing has a representation to you of the shadow side of the darkness that's playing out. And so from a high frequency perspective, are you able to experience the shadow that we see and to integrate that shadow for the world? So for the greater good. So are you able to play out what is playing out, to see it as part of God, to see it part of the greater whole, to see that when you are engaging with this, you are engaging with an aspect of God, you are engaging with an aspect of consciousness, and you integrate it with love, you integrate it with acceptance. Just like when we do our own shadow work, we don't deny the shadow. We don't reject the shadow. The shadow grows if we reject it, if we avoid it. The shadow grows. And whereas when we turn towards the shadow and we see our shadow side and we integrate and we see it for the fear, for the hurt, for the protection, why it was there in the first place. As we integrate our own shadows, we bring those shadows and we integrate that completely into the wholeness of who we are. So are we able to bring that same mindset into this as that is playing out? Are we able to integrate the shadows that we see, the darkness that we see, the duality, the friction, the division, the fear, the anger, all these things that are definitely playing out? Are we able to receive or hold all of that as part of the consciousness, as part of God? And if we are in a situation where we are we take this symbol into ourselves, can we then use that as an integration tool to integrate the shadow that we see? So it's just something that I was feeling into, in the way that those who are waking up or are awakened, those who are choosing the light, those who are raising frequencies, those who are visioning a future of unity, of harmony, and of humanity at its finest and at its most beautiful expression, those light workers, are you able to be part of the shift by integrating and turning towards the shadow and see it as part of the greater whole and see it as God within the everything?